Okay, and we are live. Welcome back to Around the Table. My name is Katleho Buntle Mutingwe. Some of you know me as Katleho, some of you know me as Buntle, but like I said, I'm really cool with using both my names. Sure, okay. Geez, I'm still feeling very nervous. Um, I think it's normal that I'll have nerves every time we're hosting the show and like every time all of this happens. So please bear with me, if I do look a bit nervous, I'll probably ease into it on the show. And yeah, guys, today's show is still it's actually episode 2 of Around the Table, and because we heard your cries and we realized that it's just beyond women conversations. We then decided to have the male part of the show. So the male means it's conversations with men and unpacking what men feel, what their thoughts are, their contributions to society, our communities, and so forth. And you guys will get to see the link of both the shows. So sometimes you'll feel like it's a response from the other show. If you hadn't joined the other show, we were then talking about women in leadership, women in entrepreneurship. What are the challenges of women leading senior roles? What are the challenges of women around a male dominated industry? And I think the key things that we got out of there, I think the one thing that contributed the most is that all the women were being told that they're too emotional in their decision making, or they want to be like men and so forth. So it's a conversation that's carrying on, but now we want to hear how the males are contributing to either some of these behaviors or how they're not contributing. So let's not blame anybody here, but it's just really unpacking the challenges that people are facing. And for those that are new to the show, this is just a really cool platform, guys. It's a casual platform, nothing too serious or anything. It's just making sure that we have a platform where we're all able to vent, and it's a safe space for us to speak, and we can really speak about anything. And all the guests that we choose obviously have a journey and have a story to tell, and obviously are contributing to our communities. So before I even go further and on and on and on, oh, by the way, guys, before I forget, the guy I'm about to introduce got me to dress like this because it's Africa Day. I was in my sweater and my beanie, my normal look, and he's like, yo, we got no time for being tomboys here. Can we please abide to the theme and let us respect our fellow brothers and sisters? So without taking too much of your time, guys, I want to introduce Tommy Makubela. He's known as Tom Bruce somewhere in the world, or everywhere in the world, or wherever he is, yeah. But I met him at Social Media Week in 2019, and I was a speaker there. And this young boy came and he's like, oh my God, your speech was so awesome, yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, dude, like, you don't understand. Um, but yeah, thank you, Tommy, for still being friends with me, for spotting the girl, and for always making sure that we are plugging each other in. So welcome to the show, Tom Bruce.
What's up? What's up, Lindsay? How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm very well. I'm still a bit nervous. I feel like I'm still shaky, and like the lighting is not fine and everything. So it's the small things,
Just
but I think it's
relax.
fine, you know. And thank you for
Just
dressing.
relax.
Well, you didn't dress me up. You
Yeah,
come into looking like this, so yeah.
I had to. I had to. I mean, you took all the efforts, even though I was the director of the outfit or the wardrobe, whatever you call it. But I also had to then, meet you halfway. You see, I also have my necklace on celebrating Africa Day. So yeah, man, we on, we live. Thank you for the platform.
Teamwork makes the dream work. So Africa Day, and happy Africa Day to everyone.
Yes.
I hope most of you did dress up. I know some people are home. So for those that were in the streets, I hope you gave a little bit of effort. I know I didn't. I really went to the office and had meetings, and I came back home and I was like, I got to prepare for the show, you know. But happy Africa Day. Oh, sorry, somebody was struggling to go live, so I was just responding to that. But anyway, guys, just to kind of start and get going with the show. Men, it's a
Yeah.
very broad topic, you know. Yo, men are trash, men are dogs, men are this,
You had to
men
start
are
with
that,
that one.
you know. But like those are the conversations that are going around from us women. So I just really want us to unpack uh what's the word? We use that word just now. You see, guys, English yards harbor and all of that, you know. King Tom, when people are thinking that you're something and you're not. But anyway, geez, it happens. Yeah. Oh, the Hang just reminded me,
Wow.
stereotyping. And guys, a disclaimer, my son, who is an 11-year-old, is actually my assistant. So he says he wants to be part of the shows and he wants his own show too. So let us groom young people, well, these young little ones, to actually be great as well and have their own conversations. But anyway, just to break the stereotypes, Brucey, I'm going to call you all sorts
Yeah.
of names. Anyway, so just to break the stereotypes, you know, how do you feel when people raise things like men are trash, men are dogs, and so forth, and?
I think it always ties with personal experiences of whatever man were in your life. You understand?
Yeah.
And then we as men, we can't then be defensive or justifying ourselves because you don't know which shoes you wore when you maybe verbally said that statement when you said we are trash. You know, at least you are this trash that you can't live without because some trashes go with pick it ups and whatnot.
Oh,
So we are
okay.
here, we're still here, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, it always
So
depends
what
with
kind of trash are
it
you?
always
What kind
depends
of
with which shoes you wear, and I'm the good trash.
trash? I
I can
see. Okay.
say.
Yes.
Yeah, but then yeah, so we can't then say we have to defend ourselves on that because we don't really know what women went through for us to call us trash, you know, for us to say whatever they want to say about us. But we are here tonight. We are going to be joined by amazing men where we're going to be able to break down why exactly we as modern men want to support the women, and we are saying we are for women.
Thank you. But anyway, just before we get our guests on, why don't you give us a bit of background about who you are, just so the guests also know who their co-host is, where they come from, you know, what you're about, things you're part of, you know. So it won't be lengthy, or else we'll have the whole show to ourselves, you know. But just a brief bio on yourself.
To me, is a young change pioneer, man, from Orange Farm, proudly from Orange Farm. You know, growing up in the dusty streets of Orange Farm, only wanted to become a positive self. Wanted to do things better, wanted to do things differently. I can be able to inspire other young people to do amazing things. So I'm a change pioneer at heart. I have an NGO called Change Pioneers. I'm a digital strategist. I've worked with a number of brands as a brand strategist as well. I run like 3 to 5 companies. So I'm also an entrepreneur besides being a social entrepreneur, which is the NGO type of things. But then, yeah, I'm that young man who's just changing the norm of young people coming from the townships who can be what the world thinks they can be.
Oh, amazing. You seem to be busy, like Ubizi man, like Ubizi. But
It's great.
I guess it's a good thing, you know. When I met you, I know you. I mean, we had lengthy conversations to date, you know, and I think I'm grateful for us meeting. You know, we've had so many conversations from just relationships, from work, from events,
Yeah.
from drinking, you know, and I guess we've both contributed to each other's lives in terms of our growth, you know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
thank you, you know, so thank you for agreeing to also be part of this and not being paid, you know. people must know that not everything that we do for money, but it's just really engaging
Yes.
people on topics or really things that need to be said, you know. So
Mhm.
people must never, like everybody that comes on the show, I always say, guys, don't be afraid to say what you need to say, you know. Let's tackle the issue. If it means we need a follow up, then let us follow up on it, you know. But let's have the conversations. Let's be raw about it. Let's be straight up about it. And I mean, if it means we all leave here and we need to do a bit of our homework, which is research and so forth, then let us do that, you know. I mean, that's
True.
what we're trying to do. I'm raising a son, you know, and as difficult as
Yeah.
it is, there are certain things that I really don't know. You've got a son, you've got nephews as well around you, or other people in the
Mhm.
community that look up to you, you know. So let us be able to
Yeah.
have the conversations, teach what we need to teach if we can, and then just learn from others as well, you know. So thank you so much for being part of the Around the Table team.
Thank you so much, man. I couldn't have rejected the offer, you know, as much as it's not a paid offer. I mean, as you said, we met social media week and then we've had this conversation, amazing conversation where you procrastinated a lot of things. So I'm glad that you finally took a start to this and you're actually doing it. I'm proud of you, man. And then to be part of the team and witness you grow and witness you do what you love the most,
Yeah.
it's really something very privileged to be part of.
I
So
talk a
yeah,
lot.
thank you to you.
I talk a lot. I think I do. But anyway, without
Yeah,
wasting time, let's invite Georgie. Call him Georgie, guys. Lebitso la hae ke George. Gladwin. I hope I'm saying his surname right. Matike, right? Or Majeke. Guys, he will correct me. He will correct me. But anyway, so George has always been a big brother. And it's weird how we met, you know. And the one thing that he always likes about his initials is that my late brother's initials are also GGM, you know. So every time they come up, it's a oh shit, oh yes, by the way, you know. So he's the big brother now who's replaced the late GGM, you know. And he's helped me so
amazing.
much, you know, like in my growth of either entrepreneurship or either projects that he's running, you know. I've always followed his conversations, you know. And even some of the people that we've met, we know a lot of mutual people as well, you know, like both you and I, Tommy, as well. But it's funny how George always pops up in spaces that I'm in, and it's like, oh wow, there's Georgie, you know. And for those of you that don't know George, um
Mr.
he
Marvin.
yeah.
No, I'm saying Mr.
Oh,
Marvin.
yes. He's the founder of Marvin Magazine. And I think how we found it relevant to also have George on the show is that Marvin Magazine is actually dedicated to men, you know, conversations with men, music with men, and everything great, you know. So,
Mhm.
Georgie, we welcome you to the show. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Around the Table.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me to the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great. You look different without the hair and it's just the beard, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
got
it
a
has.
I got a haircut today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special day today. It's the beginning of new things. But like, yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah. So yeah, I got it today. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
fresh.
I thought you took a haircut because you wanted to commemorate Africa Day.
No. Not there yet. I only just discovered now that it's Africa Day. I've been off social media all day, so
Okay,
I've
cool.
only saw it now. Yeah,
Okay, please. I know I've given you a brief background on who
yeah,
you are. You know, there's a comment
yeah.
there from Dumi Rameti that they're saying that Marvin is a friend of mine. So maybe you want to tell us who this alter ego Marvin is and what George is about. So please correct me with your surname as well. I don't know if I said it correctly,
Yeah,
but
my
my
check.
jacket. Okay, so
Yes.
okay,
So
cool.
no, it's fine. It's fine. So Marvin is actually so. I'll just tell you a short story of how we came up to naming Marvin. So
Mm-hmm.
in 2010, I wanted to start a men's magazine because I was quite young. I think I was like 29 or something, and I had a lot of questions about how to be a man and what is it to be a modern man. And there was no platform that spoke to me as a black man. So what I did was that, okay, I'm going to start a magazine. Then I decided that I was going to call it Modern Man. Then I went to a friend of mine called Greenside, and I told them, like, I'm going to start a magazine. It's going to be called Modern Man, and it's going to speak to men. And they're like, that is the worst name I've ever heard. And I was like, you guys are killing my dream before it even starts. Let's just go drinking. Then as we go to a bar there by Greenside, I meet this guy. Like, you can tell that he's well groomed, and he's old. He's in his like 40s and stuff. So I drink Black Label. He drinks Black Label. Starts us talking, Jay. And this guy, without even me telling him my problems, he started answering a lot of the issues that I had as a kid at the time. It's like, don't do that because it's this, or it'll bite you later. And that's how we decided to call it Marvin. So his name is Marvin. So we became friends. Yes, we became friends after that. So we just like, Marvin is a friend of mine, you know? So from that night, it just started like, what would Marvin do, you know? And like, then the phrase of Marvin is a friend of mine came up. Obviously from the Commodores, that song, Marvin is a friend of mine. But
Night Shift.
Yeah, Night Shift. So, but the essence was that when I met him, like, we didn't know each other from above. So, but he became that friend who answered a lot of questions that I had and struggled. And he did it in such a way that it was not demeaning. He was educating me, actually, you know. And I think we don't have that in our society as Black people. We don't want to talk about things that have happened in the family. We don't want to talk about what is going to make me grow as a man. They only tell you as a man that you must make money and get married and have kids. You're like, okay, but now what about mental illness? What about my emotional state? What about, you know, there isn't context to how we are now, because I think as men now, we're much more complex than our parents were, and we're much more vocal. We understand how we feel, what we like, what we don't like, where do our issues come from. So then Marvin became that space where we have conversations about relationships, money, where we come from, social things that affect us as men, and also explain to women like how we actually they make us feel, because a lot of women haven't heard a man speak. They've heard us do other things, but they haven't heard us speak, you know. So it's that platform.
So the conversation last week for us, and maybe just to kind of go into it, right? So that we don't break the chain, is that we were talking about women in leadership, right? And often women are told, I think the one thing that trended in the conversation was that women are told that they're too emotional, you know, and women are told that they're too sensitive towards these things. And you always have men trying to block their ways in terms of their growth, either in corporate sectors or wherever it is that they are, you know, in whatever sector that you are. And Hakira leadership, I don't mean you must be a CEO of whatever, you know, but just women raising their voices in spaces and trying to lead, also in industries where that are male dominated, you know. And like you're saying, that there's so many stereotypes to that. What is your take on why men either feel that women are too emotional, or men are not allowing women to go through this? And then I guess that kind of just opens up how men feel, and moving on from here to the conversation of breaking those stereotypes in gender equality.
So the first thing you need to understand is that corporate was not designed for women at all. It was not designed for women. It was designed for men. So when women starts coming into corporate, they're coming into a culture that they don't understand. So in corporate, for me, to be a good leader, I need to be called, I need to make harsh decisions, I need to be removed from everyone. So when a woman comes in, she's like, no, but like, George's child is sick. You need to go home and attend to that. They're empathetic. You know what I mean? And all of those things. So corporate doesn't understand that. To be like, why are you trying to change this? And also things like, I realized that in corporate as well, is that like, I think as a man as well, you just need to understand your male privilege, because we do have male privilege. In the boardroom, I don't shout. I just say, this is what I think we should do. We should go left, because if we go left, we'll end up there. But we won't. If we take right, we won't end up there. Either you like my idea or you don't. And people will listen to me just based on the fact that I'm a man. But women, on the other hand, they need to shout, because they know that they're not going to be heard the first time. They're not going to be heard the second time. They're not going to be heard the third time. So she needs to actually literally hey guys, I'm saying, for her to be taken seriously, because of how corporate was built. And it is not a nice thing for me to say this, but this world is designed in such a way that it helps me as a man to succeed more than it does the woman.
And that is true.
I can show up anywhere. I can, that's why there's boys club. That's why I can go, most of the time, even when I'm doing business, no one is trying to sleep with me. No one is saying, yo, for you to get this deal, you need to sleep with me. You know what I mean? I go and can I have this deal? I'll give you this. They're like, we like you, we don't like you, sharp. You keep it moving. Where with women, even if the person knows that they're not going to give you the deal, they're going to let's meet at the sex scene and, do dodgy stuff, or call you at night, or send you dodgy pictures and stuff. There's always something where, as a man, I don't have to go through that. I'll call guys, I'm like, I want to do this, and you guys will pay this much, and they'll be like, we don't have the money. And you move to the next one, until you get to number 10, where you get your deal. But for a woman, for you to even get to number 10 is going to be hard, because guy number 1 is trying to sleep with you. So there's, you know what I mean? So there's all those things that are there that already are a battle for women that are not a battle for me. You know what I mean? So we as men, we just need to understand that first, so that when we run organizations, you have to tell Montle, you don't have to shout. I'll hear you the first time. Your voice is important.
How often do you have men that actually understand that women don't have to shout, and then start understanding that because we are now part of the corporate space, we have voices too, and we also need to be heard? What is the ratio around men being able to understand that?
It's very little. It's very little, That's why, and the thing is, the women are not going to make the man understand that as well. There's no way, because men, because men don't listen to women, and it's a thing. It's got nothing to do with Rajola. No, it goes back to my mother. The first person that I tried to protect myself from was my mother. Because because I was trying to put my finger into the stove or the plug, whatever, and she would shout at me, because obviously I'm going to get injured. But as a child, I didn't understand that, and I'm like, yo, this woman is always shouting, and as a boy child, you develop a way of shutting down. So by the time as soon as you shout, I know how to shut down. So for me, I need to. So men listen to other men.
But then, Brother George, if I can put it this way, you have mentioned a lot of valid points, especially when it comes to women have to then now be taken advantage of maybe used as sex items and whatnot for them to clinch a deal or whatnot, right? But then now we also have men who are doing it on men as well, and we also have women who are doing it on men as well. We also out here have been.
Yeah.
So there's gay guys, right? And then there's older women who can molest men as well. Because maybe she's just a divorcee, and she has this old money, and then she needs young blood. That's why Lima Penten and whatnot, right? And then these maybe are women who are leading the space in the corporate space where you want to get in as a young man or as a modern man or whatever to bring the change in the family, right? But then that is not something we talk about as men. And we supposed to break this silence as modern men, because then now it is always faced as men are only taking advantage of women. But what about women taking advantage of men?
Like it is there. It is there. Like there's women who take advantage of young men, and it's there. So I think the biggest thing is that obviously the ratio of or the chances of women taking advantage of men, it doesn't scale the same way with men taking advantage of women, you know, because you need to understand that
is it because we never talk about these things?
No, it goes back to a physical thing as well. Like naturally, men, we are stronger than women. Like it's really it's a rare occasion where the woman is stronger than the man. You know what I mean? Like it's not every day physically. Like I mean physically. You know?
Okay.
Yes. Not. I'm saying physically. It's really you find that the woman is stronger than the man. So the main issue is that men use their power, whether it's with money or whether it's physical power or whatever, to dominate women, and that doesn't even need you to even have a top position. You can dominate like a woman just ulemalamba and just not nix, physically, where a woman. Where a woman needs to have money for her to dominate you as a man. Do you get what I mean?
So okay, I'll say this a woman's perspective to say I'm very lucky that I'm sitting amongst men and we're having these conversations, right? So one of the topics one of the comments from Umtujuzi says one of the ways to break the structures built to progress men and not women is for women to build equivalent systems like girls' clubs and the likes, right? But anyway, this is not a platform where we're going to now speak about why women aren't doing those things, right? But also what I've understood and the stereotypes and how we've been raised as well, especially in Black cultures, is that women must always
support.
No.
Humble.
And guesses today my brain is not functioning. But anyway, so we're not really going to talk about either women hate or so forth or whatever, right? And I find that a lot of the time we find ourselves as women now fighting to take up spaces and competing with men, right? And the stereotype around that is that we will never win as women because men are known to be stronger, like you said, physically, right? But we are now in a world where you have strong women who are taking up spaces because of their knowledge, because of their power, because of their fierceness, because of everything or all their circles and their support around them. How do we then work around women taking up spaces and men understanding that it's not a competition?
Like I think there's that quote that says if women compare themselves to men, they're missing the point or something like that. Because I don't like, and it comes up a lot when people speak about equality, and there's a difference between getting equal opportunity and equality. You know what I mean? Those two things are completely different, but like a lot of people use it as one thing. Like me and you, Buntle, we are not equal, and we're not supposed to be equal.
Sure.
You can make a baby out of nothing and bring it to this world. I can't do that. I have my own specifications, what I need to do as a man, and you have your own specifications of what you need to do as a woman. And my job is not to compete with you. Me, I need to compete with Tom. That's my competition. I need to compete with Tom because the thing is, you have certain skills and you have certain ways of working that complements, there's things that I care about. Let's say maybe I'm good with cleaning the house or organizing the house, and you're good when it comes to organizing the kids. And those two things are needed within the household. And when you put them together, you're winning. But when one is missing, then everything is falling apart. So a lot of the times, like I don't look at women as competition, because I know that we're not built the same. And I'm not gonna try to multitask. Like, you know how to multitask and think about 15 things all at the same time. I can't do that. I'm not even gonna try. It's either I'm doing this or I'm not doing anything at all. You know what I mean?
But then
So,
now, how do you?
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, carry on.
No. I then wanted to find out that how do we then support women to then thrive in the workspace without them feeling like we are shutting them down? You understand? How do we then support these women who are out there coming to take up spaces and make them understand that they can be submissive, but they are not competing with us? Because I think that's also something that we then have to outline, because men are given this position where they need to be dominant, and then women are then being given to this position where they have to be submissive. But then how do you make sure that the two balance, in that it works well in the workspace, that right now we are talking as men, you see me as a competition, but I don't have to let Buntle see me as a competition? How do we then allow Buntle to come to the space and make her feel welcome without her feeling like she needs to shout?
Like, I just think we need to just give women the opportunity to do what they want to do, because I've seen it. When you give them room to grow and room to do what they want to do, they'll surprise you. And also, when it comes to the men, there's a difference between men who have power and men who think that they have power. Men who have power, Joe, they're not threatened about someone else who wants to do stuff. Because you have power, Joe. You wake up. It's not like Bunte's going to take my power. Like, let's say Bunte comes through to work at Marvin, and she's like, I want to do this. I want to start a female magazine. I'm just like, hey, keep it. Just do that. Because whether I, in the morning when I wake up, that power is there. At night when I go to bed, that power is there. And power is tiring, guys. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility. And when you always have it, and then someone else wants to alleviate the pressure, you always give it away, like, yo, can I not deal with that? Because I've got a lot on my plate as well. But then you get people who actually don't have the power. Those are the people who are always the problem, because they pretend that they have the power, but they don't have it, you know? Now, Buntle wants to start a magazine, and they're like, no, we've tried that years ago, it didn't work, or we can't do that, we're only speaking to men. And, you know, because obviously they're threatened by Buntle, because then I see it and I'm like, let's put all our money there. Then he's not going to feel as important. So, like I said, people with power who have actual power are not threatened, you know, about people who want to do stuff.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely fit into that statement.
So if you have all the power and you want to control everything, at some point everything is going to fall apart, because you can't do everything alone. Like how the world works. Like, I can't build a family on my own. I need a woman in my life to build a family with. Even businesses, there's no business in the world that has been successful with just one guy. Jeff Bezos, there's a guy behind Jeff Bezos, or women behind, like all of them that are successful, there's always two people. Because there has to be a face and there has to be someone at the back. You might know Bill Gates, but there's Bill Palmer, who's the guy behind that. You know what I mean? So you always need to know what you're good at and focus at what you're good at, and don't the things that I'm not good at, delegate to the people who are good at it, you know, so that you can build something that's solid.
Great. So there's a question from Pindi. So I'm just taken because I've had conversations with you, and I'm really glad that you could share your thoughts. So I guess people is then asking holistically to say, aren't we then perpetuating the culture of separatism and not addressing the issue of inclusion? And maybe just to give you a bit of a background, Pindi, is that we have two shows. So the one show is for the men, so that men are heard. And like what George said in the beginning is that a lot of the people don't ever listen to men. So men feel like they never have a voice, and this is why he started a magazine like Marvin. So maybe just to touch on that, George. I mean, what are some of the things that you think stand out for you in some of the articles, maybe, or conversations you've had through Marvin? So from a leadership point, from a societal point, from entrepreneurial point, like what do men suffer from the most, or what issues is it that they really want to speak about but never get the chance to speak about?
So men are not heard in relationships. Ne? They're heard like in corporate, because that environment is designed in such a way that it gives them the space to. But in relationships, we struggle because there's like, I don't know if women struggle to understand what we say, because we do speak. It's just in when we say that, Bunta, you've heard me because of 1, 2, 3, instead of a woman saying, actually, you know what, I hear you, and I'm sorry for that. That was not my intention, or that was not what I was hoping for, but I hear you. Most of the time, the woman will not take the responsibility, and she will dumb it down. No, you must be a man, or you are a sissy. And you're like, no, but like, it's got nothing to do with being a man. You've hurt my feelings. And, eventually, when you try and say, see me, these are my emotions, and you're hurting me, or I don't like this, or I don't like that, eventually you stop. And when you stop, that's where the dangerous part becomes, because even with infidelity, it goes from there, like not being heard. Because if you think about it, you go where you are heard. Like if let's say you had a problem with your boyfriend or work, you're gonna go to the person who's gonna hear you out, who's not gonna tell you that you're too emotional. You wanna go to a friend who's gonna be like, I hear you. And when they say that I hear you, you're gonna feel valued. And when you feel valued, you feel loved. So when men are not heard, they look for that thing elsewhere. Then go Pick n Pay. She's not even hotter as you are. She's not even making more money than you are. But this girl is just like, is interested in this guy's life. Like, yo, really? Like, he gives him the attention. And this guy's gonna be like, I love this girl. And it's not necessarily love. It's usually I just want to be valued. I just want to be valued. The same way women would say, yo, you're not giving me attention. That's why now I'm speaking to George, because you never hear. You're not. We actually have the same thing. We want to be valued. We want to be loved. We want to be cool. We want you to do the things that makes us feel valued. But when we don't get that, you start looking for those things elsewhere. Then we're not worried, but I've given you everything, and all I'm asking for you is for you to hear me.
Yo, that is so deep. Like, now
that is true, man.
And I'm like, okay, what's happening in my own?
Are you questioning yourself, man?
I am, because now I'm thinking, do I actually get to listen to all the men around me? You know what I mean? I know I fight. I fight for corporate guys. I fight to be heard in corporate, because I'm in such a male-dominated space, and I totally understand when George says women need to shout, to be heard in corporate. I feel it. Every other day I feel like, my God, like, why am I even contributing? Like, why am I even still trying this? Like, why don't I just give up and be like everybody else? But there's a bigger fight beyond that, and I guess with everybody else, like, when you feel valued, yes, you feel loved.
You feel love.
And
Yes.
it's not even
That's true.
in relationships, even in friendship, and
Anywhere.
everywhere.
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 I believe.
Listening to you, you feel like, oh my God, like I'm walking on water.
That's it. You've heard me.
And feeling.
And that's something that we need to then also understand, that love for man and love for women is not the same way.
So
Yes.
And another thing,
Yeah.
we also hear and listen differently.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I'm speaking as a man, we want you to have a complete silence. I get it, like you when a woman speaks, I get it will speak for 40 minutes, you'll go on and we'll keep quiet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when I start speaking, 2 minutes in, already something Katile 5 times.
We'll interrupt.
This is why
the
we have the woman on the show with the men, because the one thing that came up was when men speak, there's already a woman there who's quick enough to say, "Hey, what about me?"
Yeah. So let me take a screenshot of this question. So when you interrupt me, in my mind, you saying, "I don't value you. I don't value you. I don't value you." So
what you're saying is not important.
Or what you're saying is not important. Then eventually, okay, whatever makes you happy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the thing is, it's got nothing to do with what I've got to say, but like when because in my head I'm saying I gave you 40 minutes to speak, and that's fine. So can you give me another 40 minutes to speak? Even if I'm digging my own hole, let me dig it, but give me a space where I'm not going to be interrupted, because I didn't pinch her. Because women can speak on top of each other and understand each other. We are not like that.
Ooh,
they feel right when they are loud. That's another thing. They feel very right when they're loud. And then when we are calm and trying to make our point, they feel like we're wasting their time, or whatever that we have to say, it is nothing of significance, But Bona, they just want to say whatever that is in their mind, and they're not saying it in a polite way. They're always louder. I don't know who said being loud makes you heard or something.
Yeah, there's that thing, if you're loud, you're a strong personality, which is bullshit. But it's fine. That's another thing.
Superman.
There's no such thing as being loud as a strong. When you are loud, you are loud. Strong personality, like there's that series by Bisang, House of Cards, and there's that lady Claire Underwood. Claire never shouts. Mara, without threatening our bonds overborn, I can kill you, kill your entire family all at one go, and you get it, and you understand how she can do that. Like, being loud is not a strong personality. It's just you just being loud. That's it. Wow. It's got nothing to do with being personality. You're just being loud, and that's your thing. It's got nothing to do with being strong.
And another thing, if I can add, is as men, we wear boxing gloves almost everywhere. We fight for deals out there, especially hustlers or entrepreneurs or whatever. We fight for deals out there. We fight for relationships. We fight to keep our business afloat. We fight with our finances and whatever, right? I don't want to wear the same boxing gloves at home when I come back home. I want sanity when I come back home. I want to leave these boxing gloves outside my gate. Then I walk home, and then I'm free. So now when I walk home, I still have to keep these boxing gloves that I was fighting deals on. I was fighting financial, I was fighting employees, I was fighting my creative team, I was fighting everybody. So now I still also have to bring these boxing gloves at home. It doesn't really make sense. We don't want that as men.
No, we don't.
I want to understand something. Wait, before you carry on. So I'm not going to defend the woman right now, because I want to hear what you're saying. I want to note it, and I really want to go back and think about everything that you've spoken about, right?
Yes.
So because he's asking a question, and I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but because we don't have so much time, I feel we can have a follow-up, but we've started something, and I think the base of it is we've understood that, guys, we need to listen as women, I mean, for you, Josh, to say how I felt that.
Yeah. So I saw that.
But anyway, so because he's asking, how should we balance male privilege and acknowledging women as competition? Doesn't not seeing women as competition suggest that women cannot compete?
We won't acknowledge women as competition. We don't want that, if I may say.
So here's my thing. I don't think we have any, or I'll speak for myself. I don't think that I have any issues with, like, I've seen women can do anything. You know what I mean? From my mother to wife, women can do, and they've proved it so many times. And
yes, definitely.
My thing is that we are not made the same from day one. Even if you have twins, those twins strengths, they're born the same day, they're the same age, they're not made the same. They don't have similar strengths. Me and you together, we should be fighting for a bigger agenda. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying for a woman, like, you know, because I know that in general, as a man, I'm already stronger than a lot of women. Even without Jimmy, but I know as a woman as well, a woman can multitask or come up with ways of thinking that I couldn't even fathom. She can be like, have you done this? Have you done that? You need to do that. Hey, don't forget this. Or do this. Have you thought of attacking this issue this way? You know what I mean? And us working together, it's much more beneficial than us looking at each other's competitions.
So that's true. I support that fully.
So now we have, and I guess the question will always be, how are we then breaking these stereotypes, right? That's a question that came up now from Leonardo. But I would like you to kind of also just attack that in also remembering that now we have interns coming into the corporate world. So these are young boys, you know what I mean? You've got either high school mentality or your tertiary mentality and so forth, you know. And sorry guys, I forgot to apologize in the beginning that Banele had another commitment, you know, but I think he also would have been the best person to also answer this question because he also likes to speak about Amakrotman and how people should have mentors, you know, and your mentor should not have to be a George who's just running a Marvin, but it could be Kotman Lasekonen who's doing something, you know, or who has started something or who has come up with something, you know what I mean? So in breaking these stereotypes, how are we then grooming this upcoming generation, TikTok generation? I mean, my son sits on TikTok the whole day, you know what I mean? And I can't stop it because now we have internet, they're exposed to Google, they're exposed to these things. The only way I can do it for him is actually guide him, you know. I'll give an example, and maybe just to also give you then time to respond to it, is that earlier on, as I was dressing up, he says to me, Mama, why are you showing your boobs? Like, that t-shirt is not appropriate, you know what I mean? Somebody, somewhere has fed him something, because I know it doesn't come from me, you know what I mean? But for him to say to me, hey, Mama, like, your chest is showing too much. Where does it come from? How do we then groom these young men? Because as soon as they walk into the corporate sector, it's everything else that they've learned in them growing up.
So can I? There's a harsh truth that I don't know if other women are ready for it or not, but at some point you see it, you deal with it either way. I don't think so. Women can do almost everything except teach a boy how to be a man.
True.
They can almost do everything.
That I
except
know.
That.
Yes.
Yeah. So only men can teach a boy how to be a man. And all those things, you know, he takes it from other men, other boys, other what, or you know what I mean? And that's the reason why there's a necessity for both parents going through, because like the first, I'd say maybe the first 10 years of a boy's child, the mother would grooming, whatever. But after that is the father section, you know. Okay, your pubics are starting to come up. You need to use roll-on or this or this mustache. All of those things. You need another man who looks like you, who's going to tell you, these are the things that I need to prepare you for the world, you know? So that's why you need both parents who are going to take turns. Because like I remember when my dad passed on when I was 18, my mother didn't know what to do with us because she's like, I've never had to deal. Section extra dealing Leona. My dad
True.
dealt with that. So she didn't know how because she was not groomed for that.
So we're also living in a society, and sorry to interject there, where
No,
we don't
that's
have
fine.
parents living together, right?
Yes.
How do you think the role of, I don't want to call it absent fathers, but anyway, the reality is that they are absent fathers, you know? How do you think the role of co-parenting, sorry guys, co-parenting and absent fathers kind of affect the young boy?
Hard.
I think if I can come in there.
Yeah, go in there.
Yeah, there's two different things that you raise, and they are not the same, right? Dealing with an absent father is not the same as dealing with co-parenting, right? So dealing with like having a kid grow up with an absent father, you as a mother will step in and try to do as much as you can, but you need to give the boy room for him to find knowledge or wisdom out there and some other man. And then this also comes to which man do you introduce this boy to, right? Or which friends, which male friends can you trust enough for them to act as figures to this boy? You can't just hit Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then tomorrow you get surprised when your boy now starts, I cannot black. Now understand? Because these are the men that he saw that you surrounded yourself with as his man, you know, because this guy only grew up with you. And then with co-parenting, it's a positive energy when both parents are with the kid, whether it's separate times or not. Right, but what the kid knows that my mama, I know mama is gonna take care of me and whatever. But when I'm with daddy, I'm gonna be playing games. I'm gonna be asking more because I'm a guy. I want to know what is soccer, what is sports, what is that. You understand? So, as much as women cannot raise a kid to be a man, the men around the woman will play a role in raising that kid.
No, true. I agree because here's my thing about absent fathers is that what they don't realize is that they create the same thing that it becomes a vicious circle, and it's a very hard circle for the young boy to actually come out of it. You know, you need a very strong, willing boy who's like, there's no way I'm gonna be like my dad. At the same time, I think as society, we don't like. I don't know where we lost it somehow. The importance of men is no longer there, or the structures that we have to build as men to say that you are important, you know, in society. Because I don't know if men know that they're important. We know that women are important in society. We don't know if men are, you know, and that's what Marvin is supposed to teach. Or you are important. You're not just an ATM. You're not just a sperm donor. You're supposed to be a father who's there every day, and you're not babysitting. You are raising your child. You're not babysitting. Babysitting is for babysitters. You're raising your child. You know, so all of those things we need to obviously teach these young boys who are coming up to say that, sure, your father is not here, but there's an uncle, there's a guy next door, there's always someone, you know. So those so that we don't create the same cycle, because everybody gets affected, you know. And it's not only with the boys, it's also with the men, with the women, because what I've realized as well is that dating, the kind of person you date, their background is very important. If you're dating a girl, if you're dating a girl who the mother, and then what change, then like you have one or two fights, then the relationship is over, and you're like, what do you mean the relationship? Because she doesn't know, she just knows if we fight, it's over. And whenever maybe you grew up in a house where you saw your parents fight, and they always Yeah, they've been together, but so when as an adult, you're like, a fight is not an end game. A fight is a fight. I've seen my parents fight, and they're
And on
still tomorrow they're gonna be together.
and on that point, I think it's a discussion that happens a lot. I guess as we're growing up, with the women that you're around, I've got two kids from two different guys. So the conversations always come up to say, I mean, somebody's background is very important, and understanding that. And it's a conversation that you understand as you grow as well, because when we're young, we're not mindful of these
You don't
things.
get that, yeah.
You don't get it, but I think that the point here is that we need to start teaching our young boys as well to say, let us deal with our scars, let us deal with our emotions, you know what I mean, so that even when you're walking into the corporate space or wherever you're going to be working, whether an entrepreneur or whatever, you still have that emotion attached to you, so that you're able to feel whatever you're feeling, deal with it, and you're able to find a solution, you know what I mean. And I always used to make this example. I mean, I come from divorced parents to say, guys, now I love my parents, and through the divorce, you only started seeing how messy everything was after the divorce. I have never seen my parents fight. I have never seen them argue. I just knew that when we moved to my grand, something was happening between them. You know what I mean? Whether my dad came back home or he didn't come back home, my mom would be very spicy there and there. But like as a child, you're like, yo, come on, But I've never seen my parents fight. But I've also then been around people who have seen their parents fight, and it has turned them to be the men that they are, until a Tom Bruce comes and says, guys, you then need to deal with your old scars for you to be a better man or whatever, And I think it's also high time we started building these circles or these support structures, for the young boy, for grown ass men, because they still struggle. There's still a lot of people that struggle. So that is my point from the observations I've made as a female as well, So sure, guys, we still have a long way to go, but I'm really glad that we're having these conversations, We don't have a lot of left, but yes, Bruce, we can go. We've got 5 minutes.
You are right. You are right. A boy more than a girl needs a role model. A girl can maybe have relationships at school and friends and whatnot and stuff, but the boy more than anything, because remember, a boy was born to lead as much as we are given this title of being dominant, right? So how does now a boy lead if he has been under leadership period with a mentor, with a brother, with whoever? You understand? So more than anything, a boy child needs someone who can help them to lead, whether it's an uncle and stuff. And I kept on saying that the mother has more impact on the guys that he introduces the boy to. Because the boy starts at home. I mean, charity begins at home. You tend to see what, okay, mwaka utlanale Uncle Tommy or mwaka utlanale uncle, even if it's the same, even if it's the same blood, but through your siblings as a mother, there's this guy you're gonna get close to more than that other guy. So a boy child realizes this thing, okay, mama out of Uncle Timmy and Uncle Tepo, utlanale Uncle Tepo, even though they are blood, they are siblings. You understand? And then he will try to find ways. Why does my mother acknowledge or love the other one than the other one? Do you get my point? So more than anything, a boy child needs a mentor, needs these support structures, these support schools, or these support programs are very important, because a boy at the end of the day is supposed to lead. And then tomorrow he's going to take Manyana Wabatu, Abatlo because we boni kantle, but he doesn't know actually what to do with the girl. So they need to be prepared before they go into relationships. They need to be prepared before they go into workspaces. They need to be prepared before they become career people or entrepreneurs or whatever. So I must say that, and I must emphasize that a boy child needs a mentor. If you are a single parent as a mother raising a boy, you need to find a parental figure for that boy. You need to find a father figure. You need to find a friend for that boy. Well, understand? Because there's so many things that you can do. You can take care of the kid. You can raise a kid, but there's so many elements that you cannot communicate with a boy child. I struggle communicating certain things with my mother as well. But because there's other men out there that I can speak. to, even when my father is present, because I don't want to grow the same way my father grew up. I'd rather grow up the way that I want to grow up, in a way, this one is better for me. You understand? So all of that to mentors.
Oh, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
a lot
you.
I feel like we still need more time to obviously have these conversations, and I hope that this show or this initiative and this platform has made us aware that we all want to be heard. You know, we all want to be heard. Like, I will repeat that so many times, and obviously my perspective on men in relationships, in corporate, will obviously then be changed there and there because I didn't have listened to somebody else speak, you know. And I think the most part of it is that it was a comment that was made earlier. I kind of just lost it. Is that men speak so much about being in corporate that they lose their feelings, and this is why they don't have feelings in either relationships or being father figures and so much, because they glorify corporate so much, you know. But also it also came to say that we don't really take care. Well, I think it was Pumela who was saying something about from 0 to 18, we don't care much for the boys, you know, we let them get away with everything and we don't hold them accountable, you know. So now you then need to go think about all those things from everybody raising boys, you know. There's a long comment here from Kolani. Kolani, I will read your comment on the page. And how it's people are also saying that men that come close to mom is because mom trust men, that's why they're here, a boy's mind anyway. So I get what they're trying to say is that women also feel like because they have a certain father figure, that's good enough, you know what I mean. And then we forget everything that kind of helps into building the child. And Banele gets to join us when the show is over. I don't understand.
Wow.
But anyway, Banele, maybe you can then take this question, you know. We'll get
but I need to
it's
apologize
fine.
first.
Okay, apologize, and then we'll take the last question with you. We're running over time.
Yeah, you know how it is. These things change. The country is changing. Yeah. So, but I'm here. You know.
Okay. So you must apologize to your audience because there are people that were here waiting for you and everything else, you know.
No, I'm very sorry, but yeah, I'm very sorry. I
Okay,
can do it any other time. We can do it now. Like, that's how serious I am. It's just that I couldn't do it in time.
Okay, we'll take another 5 minutes. The show is supposed to be over, but we'll just go on for another 5 minutes, and maybe you can then just close it off because George has said so much. And thank you so much, George, for your time. Thank you for everything.
But was he lying this one?
No, he was being a boss. But okay, so we spoke in length about obviously how men contribute to corporate, how they contribute to society, how they contribute to relationships, and so forth. So we kind of touched on all angles, you know, from the bottom to the top. But I think the one thing that did come up a lot, and I think I did quote you to say, you talk a lot about how boys need Amakrotman. So Amakrotman, in my understanding, is a mentor, but you're a serial of this platform, Wanabanel. But anyway, so let me just show you the comment there. It's Bukhosim. So
the serial.
So anyway, just the last Makrotmani. So we often talk about the future is female, and in our last conversation, we then had to figure out, so what does that mean for the girl child? You know what I mean? So when you speak about Amakrotman and the conversation being around grooming young men and even boys, I mean, you have a son, Captain Planet. You know, what does it mean for them having Amakrotman? How do you groom them? How do you advise them into their growth? You know, you also, I know because you're in the entrepreneurial space, you always talk about people starting things, whether you're attacking Espaza, Pakistan, or whatever it is that you're doing, you know. What's in it for the young child? How do we help young boys grow, whether with their fathers, whether absent fathers, whether co-parenting, or any other male in society that helps them in their growth?
Yeah. Well, okay. You know, with the male child, you know, this thing is this goes back to the beginning of time, where young boys need to live in an environment of men and seeing men, and that's how they learn. Because
Yes.
like you said, Wuti, as a father to my son, what I tell him is one thing. What
Sure.
I do in front of him is another, and they're more likely to follow what I do rather than what I say, because what I say does not exist. It's just a string of words and air and and sounds. But what I
Yeah.
do seems to say this thing is so important enough that I'm engaging my body to do it. You understand? If I decide to smoke in front of him, it's so important to me to smoke in front of him. So abantwana, especially boys, they learn ngokubona. So along the way,
Yes.
belly corner. That's why you find this ezifana nokuya intabeni, when you go through those rites. And that's why you find the boys, and coaching and whatnot. It's umntwana omfana ufunda ngokubona. So now what has happened, there's been a kind of a breakdown, and the breakdown is brought in because of the noise and the needed noise that is happening on the camps, on the female side of camps or feminine side of camps, where they need to be heard. So there's a blurred line where it looks like masculinity is fighting femininity when it's not supposed to be there. So now the boy child is in a precarious point where they don't know what is right and what is wrong, really. What is being a man, really? So Amahrotman is those individuals that do right things. They're not perfect, but they just do the right things. And then young boys see them, so that Mose Lokshini, and we ask with every Friday Lokshini yaphuzwa, but you see this Hrobman Akichi Mestradin, he's doing he's running, he's doing his workouts. That creates curiosity in the mind of a young boy. Why is that one doing something different? They're gonna probably say he's boring, because there are more people that are not jogging on a Friday night than there are jogging. So he's gonna look boring and out of place. But Mega Cooler, he will then see man, that guy who was running, he was actually doing something beneficial. So now so what I've been doing is I've been re-emphasizing in Daba Yoguti Begani Amahrotman. When you look at them, there's something good for them, for you to see. So when I am being a Hrotman, I'm being a Hrotman by telling you to look at Amahrotman, young child. So it's very important for coaching to happen. So I think that's the most important thing about this whole Hrotman thing, is coaching needs to happen. And these boys, they need to know our limits. No one can control you or bring you to line more than a Hrotman. And then after that, you learn to bring yourself into line. Because your mother, umama komega chiga, you stop hearing their voice at like 16 or something. 16, 17, you stop hearing. They start screaming. And anytime I'm like, hey, you get shocked. And then estratini, if you mama medicine, estratini, they wanna sort you out. It's either uzoshawa abanye abafana, uzoshawa amapoisa, you're gonna get killed by other boys. So so you need to learn how to be coachable, how to listen to a voice of authority. That voice, more cooler, is the voice that you're going to grow up and it's going to repeat in your head. No, do the right thing. It's gonna sound like it's from you, but it's actually from someone else. And then you just adapt it. So that's the importance of this thing.
Thank you so much.
Powerful, man.
Man. Helping us, because now we have to end the show, unfortunately, because other people need to prepare for other things, and Life needs to happen.
Yeah.
I need to be a mother as well, you know. Georgie,
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I'm wishing you well.
Thank you.
So mine and ours, we are wishing you well. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
no, thank you guys.
you know. And Banele, we will definitely have this conversation on another show. So you owe us a show. You definitely owe
Yes,
us.
100%. 100%. Yes.
But your input to it has really given us a different perspective and understanding of what Banele actually means, Namakrotman, you know. And thank you to our audience more than anything. Thank you for the interaction.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Tom Bruce, thank you so much for being a partner in this. You know, I wouldn't have coped because I was going to attack George and say, but what about the woman? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
that we were able
Yeah.
to find the balance. So the last thing as I close off the show, someone says, the thing closest to the silver bullet is to avail. No, sorry. Thing closest silver bullet available to humanity, to gender equality is tolerance and acceptance, right? The ability to tolerate and accept each other's difference. Finish. That is what I'm closing the show off with. And also, let us remember what George said, everyone. So thank you once again, is that everybody that feels valued, feels loved. We all want to be heard, but let us give men a chance to be heard so that we understand them better, you know. And there's a lot that will still come up in all our conversations in the rest of the show. But from me tonight and the rest of my team, see you guys on Wednesday when we then speak to women to find out how they feel, you know what I mean? So that they have a safe space of being able to say things. And to all the men that are joining the show and all the women, thank you so much from KBM for all your time and your efforts. Mwah.
Thank you.
Shout out, everybody.